So we're into our second week of Halo month with about 2 weeks until the release of Halo 3 ODST on the 22nd of September. With my review of Halo Combat Evolved done and out of the way, it's time to move on to my review of Halo 2. Now I'm trying out a different format for this review, so any comments or criticism would be appreciated. I know it's tempting to click on that 1-star button, but seriously, tell me what I could improve on. With that out of the way, let's jump into things. Halo 2 takes place about a month after the first Halo game took place. The Master Chief has made it back to Earth only to discover that the Covenant are invading humanity's homeworld. As you'd expect, it's up to him to drive them off the planet. Halo 2 does a good job at explaining what happened in the first Halo game, so if you wanted to, you could jump straight into Halo 2 without being too unfamiliar with things. Of course, playing the first game helps, and the game even makes a reference to the Battle of Reach, which is what happened right before the events of the first Halo game. So in some ways it provides a better backstory than what Halo 1 provided. The game also gives you more insight to the Covenant, how their culture works and what their motivations are other than destroying humanity. It gives them much more depth as enemies, and I think it makes them much more interesting antagonists. This also introduces a new playable character. From time to time throughout the game you'll play as an elite known as the Arbiter. This was a pretty controversial decision. Some people didn't like playing as an elite, but other people, such as myself, thought it was interesting to see how the Covenant works, and let's be honest, having grunts fighting by your side is cool as hell. The story remains interesting throughout the game. There's always something going on. It's a bit of a leap forward from Halo 1 where it took a while for the story to get interesting, but some people may have preferred the Covenant to be more a mysterious enemy. Oh, it's also worth mentioning that the ending of the game will probably make you throw your controller through the window. That is, unless you've got a copy of Halo 3 on hand ready to play as soon as you complete Halo 2. At the time of its release, Halo 2 sported some impressive graphics. Environments are usually pretty large and well lit, and as always, each faction in the Halo universe has its unique and distinct look and feel with their architecture. There are some issues with Halo 2 though. Most noticeably in the cutscenes you'll probably notice a lot of texture popping, and textures can look blurry when you get up close, but for the most part Halo 2 sports some nice visuals, and it's certainly not an ugly game to look at. Halo 2's gameplay is very similar to that in Halo 1, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Bungie have adopted the if it ain't broke don't fix it approach here. You still have 2 types of grenades and you can still only carry 2 weapons. An interesting change is the addition of dual wielding. You can now use 2 weapons at once. They don't necessarily have to be the same weapons either. You can mix and match guns until you get a combination that works well for you. Sometimes it's fun to grab 2 pistols and just Lara Croft your way through swarms of bad guys. You also now have the ability to hijack enemy vehicles, so if you see a ghost that you want, you can board it, kick the enemy off, and then proceed to kill him with the vehicle that he was in moments earlier. Another small but useful feature is the ability to swap weapons with your allies. It's pretty cool to give a rocket launcher to a marine, get in a warthog and ride around in what is effectively a very fast tank. Instead of overhauling the gameplay mechanics and potentially spoiling what worked well in Halo 1, Bungie has addressed the issue of the lack of variety of weapons that were in Halo 1. If you remember my review for Halo 1, I commented on how there are only 3 usable Covenant weapons in the game. Well, that's been fixed for Halo 2. The Fuel Rod Gun and the Energy Sword are now both usable weapons in Halo 2, and the Covenant's range of weaponry has just generally been expanded. The Covenant now have new weapons such as the Covenant Carbine and the Beam Rifle, all of which are usable to the player, so it's good to see that Bungie has addressed this problem with the lack of variation for Covenant weaponry. The Covenant aren't the only guys to get new weapons though. Many of the human weapons from Halo 1 have either been replaced or modified. For example, the rocket launcher can now lock on to enemy vehicles, and the pistol has been replaced by the battle rifle. Unfortunately, the assault rifle from Halo 1 is no longer here, which I think is a bit of a shame because it was certainly a fan favourite. Additionally, the Needler is, well, kind of useless in this game. The Needler works in campaign, but you'll have a hard time killing people with it in the multiplayer because the needles don't track very well. In addition to these new weapons, there are some new species of Covenant that you get to fight. In Halo 1 you had elites, grunts, jackals and hunters, but for Halo 2 there are 2 more enemies joining their ranks. The drones, which are basically giant insects, and you've got the brutes, which are big ape-like creatures. The drones are interesting to fight. Their ability to make themselves fly makes them very different from any of the other enemies we've seen in the Covenant, but sadly the brutes aren't all that very well fleshed out in Halo 2. They don't have any interesting armor or equipment, and the only strategy that you can use against them is to pump them full of lead until they die. I think that the brutes could have been fleshed out a little bit better than they were. In addition to the new species of the Covenant, existing members have also been fleshed out a little more. Elites in particular have been given a handful of new ranks. While you play through Halo 2 you'll encounter Honor Guard elites, Ultra elites and Elite Rangers. Jackals also now have multiple classes, and will often be seen with beam rifles. On the higher difficulties of the game, Jackal snipers become very challenging targets. In fact, out of all the Halo games, Halo 2 is probably the most difficult to play on Legendary. Halo 2 has support for up to 4-player split screen in multiplayer mode, and supports up to 16 players over System Link and Xbox Live. Halo 2 ships with 12 maps, but a further 11 maps can be downloaded on Xbox Live for free, so really there's a total of 23 multiplayer maps for you to play on here. There's a wide variety of maps to suit different playstyles. There are smaller, more confined maps such as Midship and Lockout that suit small teams or free-for-all matches. Then you've also got maps on a much larger scale like Waterworks or Coagulation that work well for big games with 16 players. Halo 2 uses a different take on multiplayer. While most games require you to search for a game with a server list, Halo 2 allows you to gather a group of friends in a party and then search for other players who might want to play something similar to what you want to play. When Halo 2 was actively played, you could find games rather quickly, but nowadays it might take a while to find a match. That said, finding a game certainly isn't out of the question, you just need to have a little bit of patience is all. Of course, you can just play a custom game or a private match with your friends, which is where some of the customization options in Halo 2 really come to shine. In Halo 2 you can customize almost every aspect of the game. You can change which weapons the players start off with, you can change the weapons that appear on the map, you can change the time limit, you can change the vehicles that appear on the map, you can tailor the game to play in any game you want it to. You can have an explosion fest, so you can make a game that focuses on teamwork and coordination. The multiplayer isn't without its faults however, and some of the balance is all over the place. The rocket launcher's homing ability can turn vehicles into mobile death traps, and I think that the SMG and plasma rifle combination is probably a little bit too effective. Perhaps the most notorious of these balance issues is with the plasma pistol. When you overcharge the plasma pistol, it gains an ability to drain the enemy's shields. This isn't the issue, because it makes an otherwise useless weapon worthwhile. My problem is with the effectiveness on it. The plasma actually curves towards its target. It's hard to miss, and when used in combination with a headshot from a battle rifle, it turns into an instant kill. It's a pretty cheap move that can and will irritate a lot of players. Multiplayer also allows you to customize your character. In Halo 1 you could only choose an armor color, but this has been expanded upon in Halo 2. You can now choose to play either as a Spartan or an Elite. You can choose your primary and secondary armor colors, and you can even have your own emblem for people to identify you by when you play multiplayer. Halo 2 also introduces the medal system to the game. Medals are like mini achievements that you earn by accomplishing a certain goal, such as getting 5 kills in a row or killing 2 enemies in a short space of time. Medals give you something to play for. It's a great feeling knowing that you're only a few kills away from that elusive 10 kill streak, finally getting it, and then having the game rewarding you for it. Halo 2 also provides online stat tracking. You can check the statistics for every individual game, such as how many kills you got or how many medals you earned. It's all there online and makes for great bragging rights if you have a good game. Halo 2 is a great game. The campaign remains interesting throughout, and while there might not be as many plot twists as there were in Halo Combat Evolved, there's still a decent amount of surprises to be had here. Just be warned that the ending of the game will leave you feeling frustrated unless you've got access to Halo 3. Halo 2 adds enough new features and weapons to be a worthwhile purchase if you enjoyed the first Halo game, and the multiplayer is still going pretty strong even today. If you liked Halo 1 or you liked Halo 3 and didn't get the chance to play Halo 2, you should certainly consider buying Halo 2, especially as it's so cheap nowadays and the PC version provides easy achievements for the achievement halls out there.